You met me before?
Yeah. I have an idea who you are.
Yeah.
You look familiar.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And it's funny because I was just listening to your story about how you're like, I think I kind of knew you, but didn't kind of know you, but I thought you were cool. And he was like, but I respected you tremendously. And you were like, oh, okay.
Who is that, Sonny?
Sonny, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I haven't spent it. Well, we probably shouldn't chat too much, right? We should save the chit chat for the.
It doesn't matter. I mean, if anything good happens now, I'll splice it in. You know.
Wait, am I alone here?
You're alone. Who do you think you're with?
What? Oh.
Hey, welcome to episode 6 of the Codec Projects podcast. This episode, we're going to be talking to one of my oldest friends in the world, John Lacroix. Not only were we bandmates in 10 Yard Fight, but we've known each other pretty much since high school. Grew up skateboarding together, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. He's going to talk about making fanzines, working in the skate industry, having his own creative agency, and then also just paying dues in the corporate world. Hopefully we don't get into too much inside, behind the scenes 10-year fight stuff, but I don't know, maybe that would be interesting to some of you. So, I don't know. Here we go. Hope you enjoy it.
Sorry, I'm like straight up dying.
Whenever you're ready.
That's how you can introduce me. I'm straight up dying. No, I'm just, I haven't slept very much.
Like I said.
John Lacroix, longtime friend of Anthony Moreski, The Wrench, and I'm a creative director, and sure, I've been underestimated before.
Haven't we?
Is that it? Is that what you want?
Yeah, no, that's good. But so you said longtime friend. Do you remember the first time we met? Because I have a thought on it, but I want to hear what your memory is.
I mean, I'll go as far to say as like I fanned on you a little bit before you knew me.
Okay.
Right. Somebody gave me an industrial designs, like it was like contact paper that you put like in your
like,
yeah, it was contact paper, like the stuff that you
like
put
kitchen shelves,
in your
like
drawer.
Yeah.
Yes, you know what I'm talking about because you made these damn things. Industrial designs. It was spray painted maybe onto the sticker.
Yes.
Onto the like it was the most DIY anything I had ever seen someone do. And I thought to myself, this is a dude I could hang with because I would do this. I would do this.
That's funny. I forgot about those. I don't even remember. I remember what they look like.
Yeah. The color scheme was awful.
Yeah, it was
terrible. Like brown paper.
There was some red
brown,
ones
like
and blue.
Not even very sticky, like the kind that's not even meant to be sticky.
You know what's funny about that?
Like minimally sticky.
What's funny about that is, you know, you remember the Brooks School in North Andover?
Of course.
Yeah,
I went there for camp.
There was a stop sign right near there that I put a sticker on. I remember hobbling out when I had a broken ankle, driving with my left foot because I broke my right ankle, and jumping out and putting a sticker on there when I was like I don't know, junior in high school maybe, and it was still there like 10 years later. Those crappy.
It's still there.
I could still be there. Who knows? But no, I don't remember. What I remember. That's funny that you bring that up. But I remember I probably saw you somewhere because I think at one point we went to Methuen and skated that. Was that Methuen that under the bridge that where all those ramps were?
You know
what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So I probably
there was an underpass and it was right next to like South Lawrence.
Yeah.
It was near the Tripoli Bakery.
Yeah. And then I remember
there's a lot of stuff I skated. That was where I skated every single day.
Somehow I remember some of those ramps ended up in North Andover, and some kids from Methuen showed up and were a little upset about that. But somehow we smoothed things over. And I don't remember. That wasn't probably the coolest thing to do.
So you guys stole our ramps?
We might have. I don't know.
Who would have done that? Who there? Not Mike D'Amico.
I don't really know, but I know that I remember they were there, and then all of a sudden they were at the fire station, the Gen was what we call it, the general store parking lot,
which we promptly went to.
Right.
I remember this.
Right.
Wait, so was I there when we I don't remember the confrontation. I do remember like some like dispute over ramps.
I just remember Craig Barsamian, right? Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I remember.
Well,
I don't know. It wasn't nothing bad. Him and AJ showed up and we're just kind of like, "You guys know how these got here?" And we were like, "I don't know," because I didn't really know. And they were like, "Okay, well, they came from our spot, but whatever, you guys can keep them." And then I remember just watching like Craig and AJ just rip
the place up,
like just destroy it, like backside 180 melancholies off this giant launch ramp, like over my head.
Yeah.
And I think we all just kind of became friends after that. But
I'm glad.
You specifically, I think I remember that time we went to Turtles. I think that's the first time I really remember.
I do remember trying to impress everybody at Turtles.
Well,
I mean, see, dude, that's Methuen, right? Like that, like, see, the vibe is this. We certainly respected you guys, right? Like 1 town over, 2 towns over. I mean, that could have gone real bad. That confrontation, right? Like,
yeah.
Like the
and
other thing,
I wouldn't have blamed I wouldn't have blamed you guys at all if you had.
Yeah, because at that time, like Methuen kids were pretty thuggy. And but we wanted to be cool with you guys. Like we've the thing about the funny thing is this leads into underestimated, really, for real. Yeah. Because like you're from a town like Methuen, like you're kind of like you're stereotyped pretty much by like 1 town over, 2 towns over, right? Just like we would do to like Lawrence at the time, or you might do to Lawrence, or we might do to Lawrence, like, or like Haverhill, or these like it's like towny stuff,
right?
But Methuen was like a poor and tough town. That's what we thought defined us. Or that's what defined. I mean, it's truly what defined us. Cause like, some of the kids grew up tough. But when we went to like North Andover, like for instance, I remember a time we went to a party in North Andover, me, Anthony, and, Anthony Semino, Anthony C, AJ, a bunch of people. And we were like invited, hanging out at this party. It was a North Andover party. I can't even remember whose house it was. And we got like accused of being like Methuen, like trash. And I remember like, dude, we're 15, right? So we're idiots. And I remember making a distinct decision with Mike Corsi and Anthony Semino. Okay, look, we could kick everybody's ass here, but like that's what they expect of us. So we need to like be the victim, like not the victim, like we need to be like, okay, guys, you guys are straight up uncool to us. We'll just like leave your house with a smile and say like, that was uncool, man, and just bail.
Well,
that was like our first Andover or North Andover experience.
That sucks.
Before you guys.
There was definitely some people in town that, well, first of all, God, the towns are so close. Like there was just like, if you were into like school spirit or sports or any of that stupid stuff, like you were trained to like hate the kids from the other town to begin with. So like there's that. And then there was definitely kids in
football
North
rivalries and things.
Right. All the sports rivalries. So and then there was definitely kids in North Andover that were just kind of like, I hated them. I mean, like they treated me the same way. Yeah. And it was, I hated them to begin with. So like, I'm not sure what the party was or what the crowd was, but like, I'm pretty sure
it was like pre-alliances.
Yeah.
And like, dude, I just wanted to go hang out with kids who went to hardcore shows.
Right.
Or straight edge, who were like weirdos, because I grew up in a jock tough guy town and I didn't want to be a part of that, man. I wanted to move on to something cooler. I thought your town and your group of friends was much cooler. not than my friends, right? You know what I mean? But like, but you guys were into the same things.
I think there was more of us. That was part of it.
So and so all these connections are through a dude we used to call Ape. And he went to Central Catholic.
He was wore like a
with
Scully and had like sideburns. Is that the dude?
Nah, he was very normal. He was very preppy dude, very normal preppy dude.
Okay. I don't
but he was like, hey, I go to Central School, Central Catholic with this guy, Mike D'Amico.
Right.
And he has a zine and he has the Gorilla Biscuits tape. And I was like, whoa, okay. And it was like, and literally like we had the zine. It was Confucius.
Conscious effort.
Yeah. So I had the zine. It inspired me like immediately. I was super into it. Just the idea that somebody could make a zine. And then he had his Grill Biscuits tape, or somebody had the Grill Biscuits tape. But either way, it came from Mike D'Amico. It all came from
connection.
Mike.
Well, yeah, with the Central Catholic connection.
Yep.
But let's go back one click before we get into the zines and stuff.
Yeah.
Going back to the thought about being underestimated, I remember when I saw you the first time. I remember, seeing you skate. I wasn't that good at skating to begin with. I never really was. Eventually, I got okay, I guess. But
yeah.
when if I would have just looked at any of you guys, I never would have thought you'd be that good. And then I just remember watching you. The big trick at the time was an ollie impossible, and I couldn't do one to save my life. And I remember watching you do them on benches, like ollie impossible to lip slide on benches. And it was like, okay, here's a kid that doesn't look like he should be able to do much. And no offense, none of us really did in hindsight, but you definitely seemed like you were out to prove something.
Hungry. Yeah, out to prove it.
So
yeah, dude, I was doing those right in front of you, man. I was trying to impress you.
And you did.
Straight up. I mean, like we because we would go to all kinds of places, right? We'd go to like Lowell, Kids Ripped.
Yeah.
We would go to like all these places where people would skate. And in Massachusetts, Kids Ripped. And there was legends, like Matt Pales, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh, Matt Pales was here. Like
going to
Matt
something
Pales
else.
was here like 10 minutes ago. Holy crap. Yeah, go to something else. Yeah. And then some of those kids started going to hardcore shows, the something else kids. So we started hanging out with those guys, and they would even go to Denny's.
Yeah.
And that was cool, but we still felt like we were just the ratty, trashy kids from Methuen who aren't expected to be good at things or aren't expected to do things or leave Methuen.
Right. Like, so. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's kind of the thought I had about, like, I was thinking about it recently. It's like, it's kind of in my mind, the best in hindsight, it's really like one of the best things you could have going for you is for people to not expect much from you.
Yep.
And then you get to show them wrong or prove them wrong.
Everything's a win.
Yeah.
But
it makes you feel shitty at the time, but I think it drives you.
Like, dude, I think you're a person. I mean, dude, like you overcome some weird stuff, right? Like I don't think anybody knows the story of you recording the demo.
I was starting to tell someone the other day, but go ahead, tell your.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, like this could be an Anthony Moreski like appreciation podcast.
I don't want it to be that, but go ahead because it fits the theme.
I'll tell you what, dude.
And don't be kind.
No, dude. Like behind your back, we joked, what if he sucks, dude? Like, what if his voice sucks? Like you were singing through like what? Like a bass amp with like a shitty microphone? Like for 10 or 20 practices. Who knows? Like things are moving so fast, right? And all of a sudden we thought people would like us, so we thought to go record, right? And so we joked, dude. We're like, dude, what if his voice sounds like shit, dude? What if he like creaks? What if he like what if he's like, and then at the same time, we in the same sessions, Ben would be like, what if he's like Ray of Today on like Can't Close My Eyes? And we just, oh man, that'd be so great. So you get up there. And the first thing that I notice about you is that you lose your rhythm when you're preoccupied, right? Maybe you're freaking out thinking about things. Maybe you're nervous.
Probably.
So like the first like 2 or 3 tries, dude, you were straight up what we thought. Like we were like, oh shit, he sucks, dude. Fuck. We were really bummed. So, but that was like, seriously, we were talking about the span of like 2 minutes, right?
Yeah. And it was weird.
You were having a hard time hitting it. You weren't really flowing. You weren't getting any like dynamics. You were just kind of like doing it. And somebody, I don't know what happened or who did something. Maybe it was Brian McTurnan. I feel like it was Ben. And I feel like it could have been me. Like, I feel like they would have elected me.
Yeah.
To be like, go in there and give you a pep talk. But something happened where somebody went and talked to you and you were like, I got this.
Something clicked. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, I got this. Okay. All right. Fuck. You're like, and I'm sure like it was already nerve wracking. I'm sure you were like, all right, go shut up and just let me do it. I'm fine. Like,
I was just going to say, I wanted to go even back further than that about band practice, because that was hard too. But I remember in the studio, now that you're saying it specifically, I had never been in a sound booth before. Dude. So, and I could hear myself so much louder than the music coming through the headphones. And that was the problem. I couldn't hear the music. All I could hear was me. And I remember talking it over, and like one of you guys, it was probably you giving me a talk, and then realizing
I tried singing before,
and then realizing that like I think that's the problem. And then once we figured that out, it kind of clicked.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like picture everybody outside naked or what the hell, but it was something where it was like, Wrench, look, man, like you got to like let go. Who gives a fuck? Just do it. Scream, put your, like, be pissed, like whatever it was. And dude, like Brian, like had a weird face. Like, dude, I remember it like plain as day. Brian, like looked back like we need a miracle here. Like that was the feeling, because you would come from nowhere. Like really. You were what I considered a kind of a shy person or a quiet person back in the day.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you liked me for like the first year or two, like, but I wanted you to like me and all that kind of stuff. So like Brian like looked back like, oh man, what if we get a miracle out of this guy? And then you hit it, and then it was perfect, and it was just like crazy how you snapped into it, man.
Well, I don't want to go really too much about this because this shouldn't be about me, but.
No, but I mean but dude, like, underestimation, that goes like 2 ways, right? Like we underestimated you. I don't know if it helped or hurt you. Like, well, I
think one of the points I wanted to make, and I don't know if you feel this way, but for me, I mean, I don't want to mean this to be insulting, but I feel like you work harder at things than you really maybe have a natural. Not that you don't have any natural like ability for things, but me, I know I don't have a very strong natural ability at a lot of things. I have to bust my ass and get good at it. And I think our band in general none of us knew how to play our instruments. I didn't know how to sing. I remember trying to sing Pit of Equality at the first band. Like it took me like 5 band practices, I think, to figure it out. I could not land the rhythm to save my life. And that's what I really remember. And like, I think that's kind of like, and like, I mean, you couldn't even play bass.
No. But I wrote like the first song just out of like sheer, like, remember like Anthony, like, and I fighting like we would in the living room, and him like walking away.
Yep.
You remember the bass line?
I do. Yeah.
Were you there for that?
I think I was gone for the weekend, and I came back, and you guys had written a couple songs, and you had the bass line, and I was like, holy shit, that's awesome.
Yeah. So he's like trying to teach me how to play bass. I suck.
I remember this.
Same thing. I'm defensive. We had tension at the time anyway.
Yeah.
We always did, like brotherly kind of. And then he's like, fuck this, dude. This is fucking bullshit. Like, walks out of the room, goes into his room. I remember we're in 148 Hillside. He leaves, and the sheer, like, well, no, man, no, he's not gonna call me out like that. Like say I suck, like this isn't gonna work. Fuck that. And then I put the energy without any thought into boom, 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 boom. And I just locked into it just like you did with the voice.
Yeah. No, and when I came back and heard that, I was like, oh,
good
damn.
Feeling.
Because, I mean, you mentioned when I made those stickers. I remember when we came up with the idea for this band that
we started with a brand identity.
It was, basically, it was one of those things where we would talk about it late at night at like 3 a.m. over and over. And then one time we just like, fuck it, make some stickers, now, like design something. Yep. Or maybe you just did it.
Yep.
And then we printed them out and like went and stuck them up because we basically just painted ourselves into a corner. We're like, oh shit,
exactly.
Now we have to do it.
Exactly.
Which is, I think, the way
that's
I do
how
a lot of
we
things.
Live, right? Remember when we like wrote like our philosophy of life, like the rules of life? One of them was like fake it till you make it. One was like never run unless you're being chased, but that was weird.
That's a good, that was, I lived by that one for way too long.
Never run. I hate it. It's boring. But paint yourself in a corner is a kind of a good one. As a fake it till you make it, right? Well, let's act like a band so that people, so they have to go make it real.
Well, that's the thing. Right? No one expected anything from us.
No.
Like nothing.
Zero.
And I think I just even remember going up to when we played our first show, I was like, they're going to fucking hate this and it's going to be the best thing ever. Like,
but that was our point.
Right.
No, I mean, like, remember, like we set a philosophy for the band. Like we were like, we figured it out. We're like, okay, here's what we're about. We're about extremes, right? We're like, okay, this kind of hardcore doesn't exist around here. So we're going to go to where it is, where it exists, like where whatever hardcore exists. And we're going to play our style, whether they like it or not. And if we're sincere enough, they will come along with us. Right? Or they'll figure it out.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So if you're having fun, it's impossible for some, I mean, for at least, I mean, I don't know what kind of soul people have, but like, you know, if someone's having fun, it's hard not to like have fun with them sincerely.
Right.
Like, and
I would say unless it's sincerely terrible sounding, but that's all, I mean, that's kind of your personal taste too.
Yeah. Yeah. But, so, I mean, you know, we didn't care what the band was, right? So I think like it's all about just like we didn't overthink certain things. I mean, we probably should have, to be honest. Like if we really wanted to be like successful at some point, if we wanted to be like Bane at some point or something like that.
Right.
But you know, certain things like I think helped that we didn't overthink it. We were just like, okay, if they hate us, whatever. We'll play the same song 3 times.
Well, we kind of, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think we kind of had low expectations at first. And then once things took off, we started to kind of raise the bar for ourselves a bit, which in the end I think was good. But I think we realized that there was only so, you know, without drastically changing, there's only so far it was going to go. And in hindsight, I think we called it at the right time, you know?
Yeah.
I wish that call from Epitaph maybe came sooner, but maybe I don't, because that might have made us terrible. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean that was a weird feeling in general, like being in their office. Yeah. Remember that?
That was weird.
I mean, we got a call from Pennywise, and the dude said to me, I was at work, I was freelancing, I was at this place I freelanced a lot. A dude calls and says, "Yeah, hey, this is Pennywise. You want to do like 8 dates with us?" And I'm like, let me get back to you. Like, no getting back to me. 8 dates. Now, you gonna do it or not? And it's like, this is before cell phones, right? I don't know if we had cell phones.
Yeah.
Maybe we had we did because we were idiots. But.
I still don't even understand that I don't understand. It's weird to even think of us playing a bill like that.
Yeah. I think we would have done fine.
I mean, you know. Either we would.
I mean, dude, you got called, you know, when we broke up, you got called by 88 Fingers Louie to be their singer, which is Rise Against.
Yeah, I know. I like to pull that out.
No one knows that one, right?
No, but I'm glad you brought it up because I didn't want to be the one to bring it up. And I'm
Dude
glad
called
that
me. He was like, "Hey, what's up with the wrench?" I'm like, "Are you guys like a pop punk band, or what's your deal?" Like, I remember them being a good band too. They're a good band.
Well, here's the thing about that.
Not the style.
I jokingly pull that card all the time on my wife because I'm like, I could have been, because she loves Rise Against, and I
awesome.
like them a lot too. And I'm like,
awesome.
I that could be me right now. But like, I'd say that obviously jokingly because if I had actually gone to sing for them, they would be. I'm not that guy. I have nowhere near that guy's talent. I'm not delusional. They wouldn't be Rise Against.
I mean, that guy's like an awesome guitar player.
Yeah.
His voice is incredible. It's like 3 octaves higher than yours.
I'm lucky to string 3 words together into, you know what I can do, and it's not Rise Against.
No, I mean, like you should do the things that like you're good at, and like, I mean, here's the thing, dude. Like, I think, what attracted me to you originally was like you were a dude who got stuff done. You didn't overthink. Like I said, didn't overthink it. You really didn't even think through those stickers and how awful they were. But but the fact that you made it is what was important. Like you were like 16 and making stickers, and you're like, I'm starting a company.
Which is
Okay.
But let's go back because I want to talk to you more about that, like just making shit. So the thing that impressed, like that blew me away, and and you mentioned Mike D'Amico, and I think I got a lot of that from him because
what's that?
Well, the dude was just making a fucking magazine. I mean, a zine, but like it might as well have been a magazine because the thing is, so he was able to do that.
Bagley on one of those, like awing over a like a sign. Like Roger was like 14.
Like a construction sign or something.
Yep.
Yeah. And like the thing is, like I knew Mike pretty well, but like he was already making zines, I think, before I even met him. Which was like pretty early on. Mm-hmm. And he hands me this, and like the just the fact that he was able to do this kind of impressed me, and then obviously it sounds like it impressed you. And then you went and started doing your own. I think you stepped it up quite a bit past what he did. I mean, definitely ultimately in the end you did. But even when you started, so like tell me about that. Like tell me about Extent. Like I want to hear that more.
I mean, wow, it's funny because I don't know if I've ever actually like talked about Extent in any sense. Because to be honest, like who knows what kind of stupid stuff was written in that thing.
Well, I mean, that was like
a
long time ago.
Before,
I don't remember it being stupid. But I mean,
but in that context,
didn't you start off by? I remember going with Mike to meet you at the food court at the mall, at the Methuen Mall, and like my recollection of it was that you like bought a zine or the rights to like use do the zine off this guy.
What was actually so embarrassing. I don't know, dude. Like I just became so. I mean, this is like the first years of me like getting into music, hardcore, and like just getting and being just very. Never felt like I was cool enough, So I definitely felt like I didn't have a lot of confidence in certain things, and so I met guys like I met this dude who did a zine. And like he's a couple of years older than me, and I became super friends with him. He was like from Western Mass or something like that. And wow, super weird. He came out to visit. We went to a show. Anthony Papalardo tried to drive. We tried to go see the first time that 411 played the channel.
Okay.
Which was like, we actually thought it was no for an answer. We're like, oh, it's no for an answer. Right. So we were going there, and then but Papalardo's car broke down, and like I straight up, the dude was like with us, and he was like, well, I'm like here, I'm just gonna get a bus from Boston. I gotta get my bus back home from Boston, so I'm just gonna go to the show. I'm gonna try to get there. So like he just parted ways. I never saw this dude ever again. And I still communicated with him by email or not, mail. And like, I don't think I had his phone number. I don't think I called him on the phone. It was like too early.
You couldn't then. It was expensive.
No. So he, I said, oh, dude, you can't stop doing your zine. He wanted to stop doing his zine. I said, you can't stop doing your zine, man. It's so good. Like, you got to like do it with me. And, I'll run it. I'll do all the stuff. I'll do all the work. I'll make it look like it's yours. I'll make it, and I already had the idea that, I was going to start a more of a community style zine, right? Like more people, like
contributors. Was it called Signal?
Yeah.
Am I remembering that right? Okay.
Yes. Which I found out later is like, this is why it's so crazy. Found out years later, it's like, oh crap, that's like the name of like the Nazi like zine that they had in like the 40s or something, Oh,
there's a lot of weird shit.
Like literally Signal magazine or something is like a fascist zine from like Germany in like the original bad days.
Did you ever go back and look at any of the ones that he did? Were there any like hidden like?
No, I mean, I haven't. I have a box. I have a zine box. I have like a Hall of Fame zine box, like all our stuff we've ever been in and all my favorite zines, and so it's in there somewhere. But he had a few things that were like different than other people. He printed it. It was really printed, so it looked so crisp and nice.
Like newsprint, you mean?
No, not newsprint. It was like straight up white paper, but like offset black ink, like really nice black ink. Okay. So, and the thing that had changed is like I had started graphic design class in school. So the school board or the school like graphic design dude came to me and said, Mr. Schamberger, that was his name, came to me and said, hey, like I can get you out of school for a week, but you need to design and print all these manuals for the teachers. And if you get it done sooner, you can print whatever you want. So I was like, oh, okay. And it's like, dude, it's an opportunity like of a lifetime, free printing. I wanted this dude's printing style. So I just I just banged it out in like a quick period of time. And that was my first experiment with like a serious zine. Before that, I did like the Mike D'Amico style zine, half size, like photocopy, like 20 copies. Okay. In fact, somebody has it. I think Mike D'Amico has it.
What was
somebody
that?
Has like the original.
He probably does. He's got a lot of stuff in it.
I want to say it was called like Positive Force.
Okay. Sounds
or
right.
Like something, man. Somebody has it. So I forget who somebody on Facebook like years ago was like, hey dude, I have you like your layout with like the pictures pasted on it. Anyway. So I did this job for the school board. And then I just like stayed at school for like a week straight and printed the amount of zines that no one would ever get a chance to do. I also did that when I did the Shelter Show. Remember the Shelter Show?
Yeah.
When I did the Shelter Show, I printed 3,000 flyers, which is unheard of at the time. So I just use these opportunities to like go as big as possible.
Right.
It's like, dude, why not? Like, and I think about it and I go, okay, like it's like 40 sheets. And, if I print like 1,000 sheets of each, so what you ended up with was a zine that was like pretty nicely printed. I had 1 million of them free and I sold it for like nothing, I think, or 50 cents or something.
Right. Well, 50 cents for nothing. That's still a good profit, right?
Yeah. So I kept that philosophy. It's like, okay, throughout the zine, like I'm going to keep leveling it up. My next step was going to be like newsprint or something like that. And I did some weird stuff. Like I did like Legal Size, which was very tall and weird, like a newspaper.
Right.
And I thought I'm just going to keep leveling it up, but I got to find ways to like make it super, I don't know, like just better than everybody else's for some reason. Like something that's better. Right.
Right.
And it's got to be like ridiculously cheap. So that's when the CD idea came up.
Right. The CD sampler.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, well, look, at that time, like to burn a CD, like you actually had to pay by the minute.
Really?
Like a longer CD cost more than a shorter CD.
That's
I
crazy.
think that's the
What
case.
a scam. That was even then that had to be a scam.
Not to mention, like, you had to do all this stuff, like you couldn't do it DIY. A lot of stuff you couldn't do DIY. So I had to figure out how to master to CD. And so I went to a studio. I spent a lot of money.
Because they didn't even have CDRs at that point, really. I mean, I don't think we had them, or you
not
had
have CDRs.
I mean, I didn't even have a computer at that point, but
no. It was sent on
an ADAT.
No, I mean, I don't know. A DAT.
Didn't you have to get all the track? Yeah, you had to get them all separately, and then
I still have the DAT somewhere.
Yeah.
So I had to get all the DATs. I think I have all that stuff. So like, I think there was some CDRs in there, but it was like very early.
Yeah.
Like it was hardware. It wasn't in a computer.
And if the CDR, it probably came from a studio. It wasn't like
came from a studio.
They burned it themselves. I remember
it was the very beginnings of when you could get, like you could go record a demo and they would give you a CD. That was new.
Right. Cause I remember just being super blown away by the fact that you were having a CD made. That to me, that was like, black magic,
Yeah. Cause at that time, like CDs were starting to come out, but I mean, like, dude, I had like the Gorilla Biscuit CD and then like the Minor Threat CD. And
there weren't, you're right. There weren't, well, I don't know. Like,
not a lot.
Not a lot
and
was
they were
coming
expensive.
out on CD. Yeah.
Yeah. And a CD was like $12-13, something like that.
Yeah.
Because they were low quality and quantity. So anyway, I went to the record labels who I had already figured out advertising at that point, right? Like Al Quint from Suburban Boys so I took all those zines. Al Quint let me use his bulk mail permit and his contact list.
Yeah.
And his contact list. And he sat with me and we stuffed envelopes for like all night. And he let me use his permit. And I sent out like, I think 300 or 400 zines as promos to every band I liked, every record label, every other zine. And then from there was just pretty much, I could do whatever I wanted.
That's crazy.
Like I at one point I took a picture, and I probably have the negative somewhere, of all the stuff that showed up at my house in the coming weeks. So like insane amounts of CDs, records, shirts, promos.
I know by the end of it, when we were living at 38, you would just get crazy stuff. You would come home with a big pile of like one of those big mail things. Like you and Clevo would be coming with you, and you just have piles of stuff. Like, what? We used to steal the boxes because we had to bring them all home. Free shit. Wasn't it like? Didn't you get to the point where it was like almost? I mean, the cover I think was full color. Was the inside? Yeah, the inside, like it was in signatures, so it'd be like 24 pages or maybe 16 pages actually of color, and then there would be black and white, and then there'd be like a bunch of red and black, and then there'd be a bunch of blue and black, and that was like my way of designing it to fit, to like milk every like penny out of the printing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they'd be like, oh look, you can do 2 colors on some of these things, on some of these signatures, or what do they call them? Do they call them signatures or whatever? But a packet of 16, because it's 4 pages for, it's got to be divisible by 4. So they'd say, okay, well, you could do 2 colors on a couple of these, and you could do, and I figured out exactly what I could afford for printing. And then it'd be like, all right, well, can I do cyan and black? And then can I do yellow and black? Or, or whatever. So like just basically 2 colors out of the, because at that time you would save money by printing fewer colors. Today you would not. Right. Huh. So then the CD thing though was, I just went to the labels. I was like, hey, at that point they were already writing checks. I was getting checks like $250 for like a half page ad, $500 for a full page, like 2,000 or 3,000 on the back. To pay for all the printing with the ad money. And then I said, guys, what if I do a CD? Like, would you put your bands on the CD and I'll charge you like $100 a minute? Does that sound right? That doesn't sound right. It had to be more. Maybe a song. I don't know. Well, I remember it was literally like I had to fit. I didn't realize you were charging 70 minutes, them. Right? I didn't realize you were charging. So that was just like basically another form of advertising. I thought you were asking them for permission to use their song just to help promote the zine.
They lined up, dude. They loved it. They loved the idea. And
that's pretty smart.
Yeah. So I ended up like, you know, it's like, oh, what's this? Hot Water Music? Like Hot Water Music, like first demo song for their album or whatever.
That's the first time I think I actually heard Hot Water Music.
And that song rips like, and then like all this weird stuff, like weird grindcore, weird punk, weird, like, you know, just like it just, I just left it open.
Pickle. I remember Skank and Pickle.
Skank and Pickle's on there. Yeah, sure. Probably. Yeah. It makes sense. So yeah, they paid, and it was enough to pay for the pressing of the CD. That's all I cared about. You know, so that's why I had to do it in minutes. Because somebody came with a 10-minute song, like, and then I would have less, you know. So okay, so let's do the math. It's like 75 minutes on a CD, right? At that time, I think. So if I was charging $100 a minute, that's like $7,500, right?
I don't know. That sounds like a lot of money in 1994. That's when it was, right? We should probably set that up.
4 or 5. I don't know.
Yeah, this was like 19. Yeah, we never even mentioned when any of this stuff was. I think this was like
college. Rama was my intern. I had interns. Everybody would come over and just get A's on their intern thing.
Right.
Like A's on their card.
Yeah, someone was asking me about. I think it was Joe Hardcore. I did his podcast.
Oh, great.
And yeah, I think it's actually coming out tomorrow. But he was asking about Big Wheel and like, because he was asking me about 10-Year Fight, and he was in Big Wheel and I know Chris Wren was talking about Big Wheel, how he started by interning with Big Wheel. It's funny how it all. I mean, really, without not that Rama wouldn't have gone and done anything, but like if it all builds and we all kind of helped each other out and it built on each other. Like, like, you know, some might argue if you didn't do it Extent, or that kid didn't do Signal, then we might not have Bridge 9. I don't know how much, valid that is, but
well, I certainly believe that when I first met Chris Wren, I don't know if I had ever been an influence on Chris Wren, but I was impressed by him very quickly. He
was just a natural, like hustler, and
he just did not
in a good way, in a good
get it all done. Like, all right, let's do it. So yeah, I mean, like, dude, like, I don't know, man, like real recognizes real, right? That's what we always used to say.
Yeah.
So like you could see a dude, like, so people were at our college days, right? When people would come around, like the scene was already set. Like, if you're not here to like do something, be a part of something, right?
Yep.
Like, just go to your room. Like in the sense of our giant house that we had, right?
There's this thought that like whenever you start something, you're gonna suck. You got to pay your dues, and like the first go at something, it's gonna be terrible, and then you get better. Like and one of the examples was like your first band's gonna suck, and like my
first band was 10-Yard Fight.
That kind of fucked me in a way.
Yours
because
was.
I got.
It's like when you. What do we always say? Like,
I didn't
if you
earn
sit down to play blackjack and you hit the first one.
Yep.
You're basically an addict forever.
Yeah, you're forever chasing that. That kind of, I feel like in a way. So I had like, I don't want to keep making this about me, but this leads into something else that I want to ask you about. I had a run where my first band, and this wasn't me, this was everyone involved. A lot of you and what you had already like built and all your connections. But 10-Year Fight was my first band, and that went like beyond my wildest dreams. And all of a sudden I was like singing for a big straight edge hardcore band, which was like one of my dreams. And then that ended, and we end up in California.
Yep.
And I just walk in.
Though.
I just
walk in. Amazing.
I just walked in off the street to 411,
Yep.
And it was like, hey,
Sure.
yeah, I think you guys should probably hire me. Here's what I know what to do.
No,
And
dude,
then,
I remember even further, like
and you thought I was
you went
crazy,
to
I think.
you went to get a car stereo
No,
installed.
it was you.
Was it me?
Yeah. You were getting a car stereo in that Jeep.
It was that Jeep.
And
so you dropped me off, right? And then you drove around the corner. And when we got home, you were like, dude, I just saw 1281, the building.
Yeah. And 411 logo.
And 411. And that's where it was funny is I knew that as where New Age and Conversion Records used to be way back in the day. But yeah, like what? 1281? Like, and then you're like, I think you like paced around the house. Like you got you psych yourself up, right?
Yeah, probably.
Like, and this doesn't have to be about you, right? This is like, it just happens to be you, but like this works for people, right? So this is going to help people.
Well, that's the point.
You like paced around. You're like, dude, I'm just going to go there and I'm going to sit there and wait until they open the doors and they have to talk to me.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did.
And what did I do? I was like, I'm going back to bed. You tell me.
Yeah, let me know how it goes.
Yep.
And because you thought I was crazy, I'm sure. And I thought I was crazy, but I was like, I got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it worked. So like,
well, what did you say to them? Like you said, look, I have this idea that you guys should buy and use.
Well, it wasn't
I'll do
even
whatever now.
It
right?
wasn't. No. Well, so here's the thing.
You saw Dan Senna. You met Dan Senna.
Yeah. It wasn't even the BMX thing yet. It was just, I'm like, I knew how to do technical support on editing systems. Someone had told me they used Media 100s. Maybe I'd already met Danny. He told me that. I don't know. But then I also knew how to make DVDs, which was like a weird
that stuff
thing.
out, you know?
And at that time, they were transitioning over. So I went in. I was like, I gave him a resume. I was like, I know how to make DVDs. Let me know if you're interested. And they just happened.
Who did you meet? You saw Dan Senna.
I talked to
and then
Shimmery. And she's the one who really, I think, pushed to get me in there.
Yeah, she liked you.
So I owe her big time.
She was very motherly in a way.
Yeah. No, she was.
She would she's like, this is a good kid. We're taking care of him.
Yeah. No, I owe her a lot for that. And then, so that's how I got into there. But then they found out that I was doing, trying to do my own BMX video magazine, and they were interested in doing that. And so they offered me that chance. So I went from being like literally one dream to the next in like the span of a year almost.
Well, California was another dream, right?
Well, and then California, yeah, but I mean, anyone can do that if they just, I guess it is hard, I get, but
yeah,
I mean, that's a whole nother thing.
Well,
but
it's just about doing things,
right?
Like going and doing it.
So in a sense,
driving across the country is a thing that's got a lot of risk.
Well, yeah, it's true. I mean, I guess we had worked up to it by just getting in the van first and like kind of testing out the waters. But my point was that like I kind of skipped that sucking part, and a lot of it wasn't even. It wasn't because I was good. It was just kind of I got lucky, you know. And then
I had this in my career as well, you know, like I mean, it's kind of weird for me to say it, but like I'm sure you'll back me up. It's like there was a period of time where like people started like having fun, and I was like working.
Yeah.
Right. Like almost everybody was doing stuff out, being young, and I was like, nah. I work at this job. I remember like yelling at people and being like, dude, stop doing stupid stuff. Like stop like gambling. Right. Stop like just stop doing stupid stuff and get a job. And so I got Polaroid as my first job.
Yeah.
Right. And like I was the assistant to like the head of everything creative, the whole corporate identity dude. So that was for the same thing for me. And dude, I like I've ascended not recently, but like in years later,
right.
I thought, man, like this isn't even as good as my first job.
It's funny to think about that. And the thing is, it's not like we didn't work and bust our ass, because we were. I mean, I was spending a lot. Once I got my hands on a computer, I was nonstop teaching myself how to do shit.
You were taking pieces home from the
yeah,
Media
but
100.
I still kind of skipped some steps, I feel like, and I think in a way that kind of hurt me.
Probably on quality, probably on like making things perfect, workflow. You had to
Yes.
figure that stuff out later.
I figured it out later, and I think you had that happen too. You mentioned something. Oh, so
Dude,
I mean,
I thought I was like way ahead of the game, and it came crashing down on me like when I became a creative director versus like I thought I was a good designer, a good photographer, a good video person, editor, whatever, until I met like incredibly good, super professional, not, like normies, but
right,
like who kill it.
right,
Like Chris Patterson, like is another example, right? Like he left 10 Yard Fight. We made fun of him.
right,
He was like editing
God.
the Royal Tenenbaums like a couple years later.
right. I mean, he just edited Zombieland too. Like he was the
With
I
a
think
dude
that
who
was
made
his-
a piebald video.
Yeah, I think wasn't that his first actual? I mean, it
Yeah.
took him years to work up. He was actually a head editor on Zombieland too.
Yeah,
But he was
a
assistant editor for
on
years.
Things like,
I mean, that's a lot of
but that's
time
not
and
that's
work
not
to
a
put in.
scrubby job. Sorry.
No. I'm not saying that at all. But it's a lot. I'm comparing it to like me all of a sudden being in charge of my own video magazine for like the place. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
top of the game.
Yeah.
And that.
So how did it go down? Like, so if I remember correctly, like you weren't really in the job all that. Like
it wasn't that long, like 3 months maybe.
The job that you were like, did you copy tapes?
No, I was doing no.
DVD
Dan was doing tape dubbing, and I
Yeah.
was doing
He
the
was like,
DVD
he was-
authoring. But the first thing they put me on was CKY2K. So
Yes.
and I
remember that day.
I
You were like,
remember
bro.
like it was that, and then the very first issue of 411. So issue 1 were the first things that got put on DVD, and at that point there was no
an awful
DVD
system. What was
it
that
was an
system?
I don't remember.
It wasn't fun. It wasn't the DVD Studio.
It
Pro.
was like a I don't know. I think it was like a
Media, it was Media
$30,000.
100 or something. It was like something like
I
that.
forget what I don't think
It was
the company's
expensive, and
still
you had to use DLT tapes.
Yeah, well, it had DLTs to output, but to input, it was coming off a tape. And I was telling this to someone the other day, but like, I was literally getting paid to sit there and watch skate videos all day long because you had to QC it. Because like 9 out of 10 times you tried to capture it, it would glitch.
Yep.
So you had to get that one
Straight
right
up.
time. And then you had...
How is that not a science?
Well, it is now. I mean, now it's all software. So
Now it's digital.
It's digital. I mean, it's,
But that was
it's
digital,
nothing.
audio to digital, analog to digital conversion.
But a couple months later, Apple came out with DVD Studio Pro, and it was like 100 times easier. But for a few months there, I was literally
And
like...
then I got the job.
I remember like laughing to myself. I'm like, oh my God. My parents would laugh at me for just spending my time watching skate videos. And now I'm sitting here getting paid to sit and watch skate videos. This is a ridiculous job. But I had
I remember you, right? Like, so then one day you knock on my door. I'm like 11 in the morning, still asleep or something. I was freelancing and would just stay up all night and freelance. And you're like, bro, or maybe not bro, dude. You're like, dude, some dude like couldn't get the artwork together for this CKY 2
Yes. Yeah.
DVD. Was it like $40 or something? I was
I
like,
don't know. There wasn't
dude,
a lot
can I
of
give
money
you like
for it.
$50 to just do this for me right now? And if they like it, I'll tell them you did it, and I'll get you a meeting with Josh. Is what you said, basically.
Something like that. I mean, that was the whole gist of it. It's like, just do this. They'll be psyched, and you'll get the foot in the door.
Yeah.
I mean, because
It's funny, man. How many times have you done that to a friend, and like given them like a sick opportunity, and they blow it?
a lot of times.
But dude, I was hooking people up with jobs in the NFL for years, and people were blowing it.
But you had hooked me up. I mean, you like, that was like my first time to really actually, I felt like, pay you back for hooking me up with shit. What I wanted to say
Not even.
before that was like, dude, I didn't even know what freelancing was.
Yeah.
And then, because you were always freelancing even before Polaroid, and like, to be honest with you, like in my mind, like I never wanted to work a full-time job. I always wanted to work for myself, but I had no concept of how I would do that and in what way until until I realized what you were doing. I never even really heard of freelancing. And
Dude.
you would explain it to me like, I don't even understand. How are you doing? How are these people just give you money to sit here and make these things on your computer?
Yeah. Well, dude, I was freelancing when I was 15.
How are you doing that?
Well, remember that story I told you about the zines, right? Like,
yeah.
Like that was a freelance job, right? Like I was paid in printing.
That's true.
Dude, I took pictures of police officers and like made portraits of police officers for their business cards.
Okay.
I did, I was 14, 15 at this time. I made logos for people around town. So I was freelancing, honestly, maybe before I met you. Or very close.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, yes, I'm 14 or 15 years old. Taking photos, designing stuff. You know, I mean, like you're probably like me as a real little kid, right? Like, oh, really? Like they pay me $10 to like shovel their driveway? Like I was that kid.
I had that stupid stereotypical story that you hear, like if you hear an entrepreneur being interviewed, like I'd go to the store before school and buy candy bars and then sell them for $1 for a quarter. And sell them.
I did that
I was
too.
doing that with Now and Laters.
Yeah,
and I remember getting busted. And
I was doing worse.
Yeah, you know, it was like Now and Laters for a quarter, and I'd sell them for 50 cents. I wasn't smart.
Capitalism, baby. That's what it is. It's like your first like foray into capitalism, and all the kids are so willing to buy your candy because it's I mean, dude,
it's scarcity.
It's funny.
Yeah.
That like I connect with a lot of people who sold candy on the playground.
Yeah, because
there's a person, the kind of person who did that as a kid, and the kind of person who didn't.
It says a lot about you, I think. You know, I think it says everything.
Well, how many of those kids exist, right? Like in a school. My schools were big. Maybe there was like a half a dozen of kids who were like me.
Yeah.
You know, trying to be an entrepreneur in some way.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like it separates the a type of person from other types.
And it's not even so much in the end. It's not that you have to be. I mean, you definitely had your different businesses over the years. I know that, but aside from that, it's just it's the initiative.
Though, I don't think I have the fortitude for entrepreneurialism now.
I don't know how much I have it either.
It's scary, dude. Scary out there.
But the bigger point of that whole selling candy on the playground is not asking for permission for one thing, and just taking it upon yourself to do what needs to be done to get to the end. It's like, I need money to buy a skateboard. Yeah. How am I going to get
That's
this?
exactly what it was for me.
You know,
I mean, like, dude, I was in it complete idiot, like age 13, obviously. Right. But somebody said to me like, hey man, I'll give you this like Anthrax skateboard if you go in and get me 2 Metallica tapes out of that store. And I like tried to steal these tapes. And I got straight up caught. And my mother was an interesting person. But anyway, her punishment was severe. And I was like out of the game, couldn't skate, like whatever. So then when like when it came time to like get a skateboard, like, dude, like I wanted that. I mean, have it over my desk. I wanted the pink Jeff Kendall. I wanted the yellow gull wings. I wanted the pink matching OJ2 wheels. I wanted the bones on it, the rib bones or whatever they're called. Clear grip tape. Like I want it my way. Like I want to make a statement.
Right.
So like I'm gonna go big. I'm gonna find the chunky bars at the cheapest possible place I can go, and I'm gonna like hustle to get $5-10 and just turn it into 20.
Right.
Do it again tomorrow. Bigger, and there's another separation where like there's the kids that like did it, and then there's the kids who are like, let's put our money together and let's really do it. And like let's like bully the other kids out of doing it.
Right.
Let's be marketing. Let's say like, hey, look, man, ours are 25 cents cheaper.
Right.
Get it today. This is the last chance. Like we thought about marketing. And so, a few days later, honestly, I had that skateboard, and it's like the best feeling you'll ever have, dude.
Right.
Buying yourself something of divine nature as a skateboard. Like at that time, it's unbelievable power. Like getting an electric guitar or a surfboard or, whatever, BMX bike, like the Harrow, not the Huffy, the Harrow.
Right. And I mean, a lot of ways, that's what freelancing, I think, was, because who was going to even hire you to do that stuff? It's not like you could even get a job to do it.
Yeah. So that's a good point. Like, so how do you succeed? Right. Like when you're underestimated, right? So you have to do like a lot of things. Some of these things are undesirable and it takes you a while to shake it. And I bet I know you and I have done it. It's like, make yourself cheaper.
Yep.
Offer more. Work way harder.
Yep. In the beginning, I think you got to do a lot of that, but at some point you gotta get that in check, or you're gonna kill it. You're just gonna burn out.
Yeah, but like, if we hadn't done it then, can we enjoy our lives now?
Right.
Honestly, like we had to. Like, I wasn't willing to like let a job go away. In the beginning, when I went to college, I was killing it because, well, bands would come over and they'd be like, "Hey, can we buy a burrito and bring you $50? Like, do the layout," and we'd do it, and then we'd make a T-shirt or whatever. But then I would go to school and I would go on the job board, which is like just paper on the board, and you just pull the paper off.
Yep.
And just call the phone number, and you're like, "Hey, I'm a mass art student in graphic design and photography. Can I make something for you?" And then you figure it out. That's it. And then they give you money, and you're a student, so you're expected to be cheap. You're expected to work longer, harder, faster, and you do. And if you do that, what I realized over time is that it isn't that you essentially did twice as much work for half the money. It's that you did like, in a year, you did like 2 years worth of work or 3 years worth of work. And you spread yourself like so thin that you tried things that were straight up dangerous. We're like, I don't know if I can shoot a video like that, but let's try it, putting yourself out there and like, paint yourself in a corner, right? Like you get the footage, you look at it, you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do with this? Like, I gotta pull something out of my ass here. Right? Like I gotta polish this. I gotta make, like we said earlier, make it dirty, make it gritty. I don't know, switch something up, do something different. And that means like staying up all night and not stopping until it's done. And so, like, do you want to be the kind of person that people think of as somebody who's like that? Or do you want to be, the easygoing dude who like,
well, no, I think,
I don't know, made a choice.
I think, I think people see that, whether or not you're doing your own thing or you're trying to get into like your dream situation, like they're going to remember that, and they're going to know that like this guy's going to go in here, he's going to be loyal, and he's going to kill it,
Yep.
And sometimes people take advantage of that.
Totally.
A lot.
It's not it doesn't get you job security.
Right. But it just, I don't know where I'm going with it, I guess. But other than the fact that it's like, not everyone, not everyone can do that. Not everyone can do it.
Like, dude, like anything you do right now, make a choice, right? Like, you can choose a lot of different things, right? Like your project. You can choose to be like, okay, I'm just going to like kind of do it. And like, if 10 people look at it, I'll be psyched. Or like, I'm going to go out of my way and like really post on social media, promote it, get it on a good platform, et cetera, et cetera. Like you made a choice. So like, look, if I'm going to spend the money and the time to do this, I'm going to do it right.
Right.
But what does that mean? Right? Like, what does that mean? And if you're a person of extremes and you're cool with extremes, like you're really willing to put your ass on the line for the art of it or whatever it is, like we've said, again, one of our little philosophies we've talked about is like, if you stick it out and you keep doing it, you'll eventually get good at it.
Yeah.
And someone will notice. And then you'll have this whole body of work behind you that proves that that you're not a new jack, that you've been really doing it.
Right.
So it's like, I think we called it the sick of it all theory. We're like, wow, sick of it all is getting so famous and big. You just have to stay a band.
Yeah. And then just to kind of put a cap on that point, you got to stay it, but you don't want to get too big for your britches. I remember Sick of It All was huge. And I think you know where I'm going with this, going down to see them in New Jersey, play a basement and hawking extent zines out in the street.
So sweaty.
So they didn't need to be playing that basement.
No, dude, they wanted to.
So that's part of it too.
Dude, no. Because, well, yeah, of course, right? But we knew this too, right? We knew this as a band too, right? Because what did we say? 5 people, 500 people. You go off,
right?
Or you get or get out of the band,
right? Well, I'll say my biggest regret is was a few occasions where I couldn't do it, like because it was like either we were sick or like it was just
well, you know,
you have those stretches where
everybody has off nights, man.
It's off. Yeah, I know, but those still kind of.
You also have nights where, like, you know, I think about Chicago where we left an awful show in Milwaukee. And it wasn't awful for anybody's reasons, except maybe like the normal reason, like maybe the kid didn't make enough flyers.
And we were just off. And yeah.
And no one cared. No one liked us, and it sucked. Right? We didn't do good. And then the next night, some thug wanted to fight us because we had told Ben's friend, quote unquote friend, that, you know, last night the show sucked and we're hoping this night's going to be awesome.
Right. And the thing is, like, it's not like, I think it wasn't that it was Milwaukee, right? It wasn't that Milwaukee sucked or the kids there sucked.
No, definitely not.
It was
because we still did our thing. We still like tried our best, whatever we could at the time.
We did, but I mean, in some respect, you know, and maybe it was more like maybe I just sucked because I remember.
Well, dude, anytime I was in those scenarios, I would just put myself emotionally back to the Red Barn first night.
Yeah.
You know, like first show where like, I don't care. There's 10 kids here, whatever. I don't care. I'm just going to act stupid. Go off.
No, I agree. You
know, so I'm sure we did.
But I don't want to keep talking about 10-Yard Fight, but I'll be honest with you, one of the reasons that this topic, the being underestimated, came to me was I just remember we had a shirt. I don't think we printed that many of them, but I remember you showing me this design one time, and it was, in my mind, it was fucking brilliant. It was just like the football helmet, and then underneath it just said never underestimate the fight.
Yeah, means a lot.
And to me, it was
what
like
the fight is going to take out of you, what your opponent is going to be, or whatever the challenge is.
And I don't
Can't underestimate it.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know where you got it, but whatever this is, 25 years later, it's like, I feel like that sums it all up. Like our relationship, the band, like everything that we've both kind of done.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I mean, like, well, you know, we were saying it in 2 ways. I love double entendres.
Right. It was definitely a double.
So I loved that it was never under, because we kept saying like, you know, where will you be? And of course, we didn't really actually have much longevity, so we never actually followed through. But we certainly thought, oh yeah, we're going to be underestimated. There was lyrics about that, and so again, it was like that first show vibe. I don't care, man. I'm gonna go 100% for the ideal scenario, no matter how, you know, weak the scene is there, or whatever's going on.
Well, to be fair to us though, I mean, like, we were by no means Bane going at it for 25 years or whatever, but for us at the time, no one thought we would last more than a couple weeks, you know, like let alone almost 5 years. So I think we went well above anyone's expectations. I know mine. Yeah. We went way past ours. So
we underestimated ourselves for sure.
Right. And going back to that shirt, I don't think I got the double meaning at the time. Maybe that's how slow I was. But to me, it was just, I just thought we were talking about never underestimate 10-yard fight. I wasn't putting the rest of it.
No, I was
context.
always thinking like, because I think it felt like, I thought it was a shirt of maybe like somebody, it was like a hand or something.
Holding the helmet, maybe?
Yeah. And in my mind,
gold.
it was like a zombie, like reaching up from the grave.
Okay.
Where, which is like kind of appropriate. Like if you imagine like a dead, like football,
right. Yeah.
dead football zombie, like reaching up from the grave, like you literally cannot be killed. He's coming to play another, I guess another match or another game, I guess. But I mean, like the point was that, it's going to be hard.
Yep.
It's going to be hard.
So
don't underestimate that.
So going from, so 4-1, do you want to talk about what you did for?
Sure.
Like I'm just interested to know, like,
talk about anything, dude.
To go how you ended up. Yeah. So you went from 4-1 to doing your own agency. Do you want to fill that in a bit? I mean, there were some steps in between, I'm sure, but
yeah,
whatever it is you want to.
Moved out to California, more focused on magazines, right? Doing a lot of magazines. Was the art director for Rap Pages for like a couple months. Then I quit and waited for you to get me a job at Form 1. I did some freelance at the same time, around that same time. Always just doing freelance. I felt like I could have survived on freelance forever if I really wanted to. And then I moved up to Northern California, and then this is when things like really kind of kick off for me. Moved up to Northern California. I was doing like Flip's website. I did really sorry, the DVD for Really Sorry.
Okay.
And it was so working with Jeff Rowley, which is
that's pretty
interesting.
Cool. Well, from this end, it sounds cool.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't call him a friend or anything like that, but I don't want to. I wouldn't badmouth him, but he wants things exactly the way he wants them.
Okay.
But at the same time, they didn't understand the technology or anything. Like they didn't know what could be done. So they handed me like these animations, and I was like, dude, like you don't even have any like sounds. Like you guys are like, there's like all this stuff going on. So I did like sound design for it, and I did like really crazy DVD menus, like with all this animation in it. Right. And then I started doing the website, and so I was just freelancing just for skate companies and all kinds of companies. And then I went down to California to work with Shimry and Vern on the look of Listen skateboards. Okay. With Rob G and Danny Montoya. And so came up with the logo and also, and then at that time I got a call from a headhunter who said, and I was doing Swindle at the time, Swindle with Roger and Shepard. Okay. The magazine, which is like super premium magazine that just burnt itself out because it was so expensive to make. And digital, right? So I got headhunted to be the creative director of Sport Vision, which was doing like the yellow line in football, like the little comment on the baseball at later in the game. They had the thing called K Zone, and they were doing like, so they were like, oh, it's like video games and sports, and I don't know, so something to do with football. Like go talk to these guys. So I, interviewed crazy amount of interviews. They sent me to New York. I interviewed the creative director there. Or interviewed with the creative director there, and he was like, dude, like really, like I'm quitting in like a month, and I'm a subscriber to Swindle and 411. So like, why don't we just like call this interview and crazy. Just give you the job? And I'm the last guy who's got to okay it, but why don't we just like do it? And super cool dude.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I thought I had not gotten it. But then when I went into this interview with these two creative dudes, and they were like, yeah, here's what you can do at this place. And so Sport Vision was like a huge change for me, right? Like I was, I went from, 500 eyeballs in a room to millions and like the Super Bowl and the World Series and all this crazy stuff. And I was just wide open on the type of innovation I could do. They'd be like, dude, what do they do in video games? I'm like, I don't know. They have like a little comment on the baseball. Like, okay, like, what does that mean? Like, it means it's on fire, you know, like NBA Jam style. And they'd be like, can you make the baseball be on fire? And I'd go and hang out with a bunch of engineers and eat tons of candy and energy drinks. It's a fat period of my life, by the way. I was like 240. And we would just do insane stuff. So then what ultimately let me leave Sport Vision was I had built an agency on the side.
Okay. So that's
with Rama
Mayo, who did Big Wheel Records.
Yep. So yeah. And now does his own agency, and he's pretty big time.
So what was, before we go to medicine agency though, what didn't you win a couple Emmy awards at Sport Vision? Oh yeah, Sport Vision. So obviously like new stuff, a different level. I didn't know what the process of, I don't know how you get awards, but you pay for awards. Like you pay to enter an award, right? Right.
You have 2 Emmys, so you know how the Emmy works.
Well,
right?
I have one, and I probably wouldn't have it if someone else wasn't paying to enter for it. Because
yes. So one of my jobs at Sport Vision was like, let's get Emmys. So let's get awards. Like let's just get awards. Let's get patents. Let's get Emmys. Let's get other awards.
Yeah.
So, every couple of weeks I would be on, Emmy pitch duty. So I'd pitch an Emmy, like here's Sport Vision's technology tracks baseballs in real time,
right.
And like literally like that.
Can we enter for this? Yeah.
And then it's like, this is submission for, synchronous technology on a television broadcast. Something like that. So sports, NEMMYs, Nerd Emmys. Nerd Emmys are the science and technology Emmys. Okay. So it's like, I'm not getting, I wasn't directing a awesome documentary Emmy.
I was
getting like, I was getting like, this crazy system that I helped design, that tracks golf balls and turns it into a game.
Right.
Kind of thing. I'm not really bad. Like essentially a digital rendition of the thing, which was all a way to get around broadcast rights and things like that. So data didn't have rights. You didn't have like licensed data at that time. It was like kind of a new thing.
Huh.
So yeah.
Okay.
So I would just like make these crazy videos explaining the stuff. And the reality is that like Sport Vision was very popular. Like we would go to like a racetrack, NASCAR thing, NFL, NBA, anything at all. They'd be like, oh, Sport Vision's here. Like they were, and it was just because the people who were on the ground were like super down and cool, and television's like that. Television's real tight, right? People party and hang out together and stay up all night in their hotels, even though they're tired, and, they bond over these events. So, yeah. So I think because of that, I think that's where the Emmys like just came. So, I mean, technically, I guess I could probably say I was involved in like 7 or 8, but, my name on it.
Right.
It was 2.
That's cool though. I mean,
all right ones.
It sounds like you have
it's not that cool, to be honest. What I thought was uncool was that they didn't pay for the statue. My company didn't pay for the statue.
So did you get it?
No, I didn't get the statue. I just got they were like, here, John, here's the.
Well, yeah. So
plaque.
My experience with that was when me and Ian McFarlane, we did the Red Sox doc, the Rooters.
That was awesome.
We were nominated for like 2. I've got those certificates. Actually, Ian's got them somewhere that I'm still trying to get those back from him. Mm. But and then when I went to work for the Emmy that I actually won was for Charlie Moore, so the fishing show.
Yeah,
and it was like I'm proud of it, but at the same time, I'm way more proud of a lot of the things I've done on my own because they meant more to me and they were more my vision. Whereas with him, I was more just kind of executing his vision. Does that make sense? And I think you probably have a similar feeling to it. Like people put a lot of stock in those awards, and it's kind of like, I don't know. To me, it's like it's cool to have, but
first of all, like 100 people's names are on those awards.
Yeah.
Right. So like they get a huge list. Later in the Emmy, like I would say like very late 2000s, they started limiting. But at one point you could put like 20, 30 names as crew and everyone would get one.
Right.
And that's why I mean, I was the creative director, so I guess that's cool.
Right.
And it says creative director or creative direction on my little thing. But it's like, dude, it's like it was that one, which I think is the most legit, was PGA Tour golf. Like, dude, it was very big.
Right.
It's like, what was I up against? Like, I no offense, but if I was up against a fishing show, I bet I would have kicked its ass.
Right.
Because it's like PGA Tour golf.
Right.
It's like Tiger Woods is on my video. So I don't know. I don't put a lot of stock in that. And I realize like that if you if you hit on every person you meet, you're gonna finally connect with somebody.
Right.
If you enter every award, you will win.
True.
You will. 100%.
Eventually. I mean, they have a lot of those awards that, like I would always get flyers in the mail for like the tellies, it's like, it basically, to me, those always seem like those, remember those, like those books you could like submit your,
get your
submit
name in
your
it.
story and then like they'd publish you, but you had to buy the book. This is like kind of a way to sell the book. That's what those felt like to me.
It's like pay to play.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing about it is it's on Saturday night I find out I win an Emmy. Sunday afternoon I'm off filming a wedding. You know what I mean? So it's like people think
like not that glorious.
No, exactly. They think, oh, you made it, and not really.
So basically, there comes a time where Rama calls me up and he says, "I don't know what else to do. Like I don't want to do bands anymore. I don't want to do this." He'd tried a few different things. He'd done a trade show. And so he calls me and he says, so I'm just like, I'm at my end. I want to do something different. I need to get out of here. What do we do?
So what was he doing at the time? Like, fill us in on that. Rama did Big Wheel Records, and then like he got pretty big there for a while in LA, right?
Yeah, he was doing some good stuff, like doing vinyl for Jimmy Eat World and, essentially getting like Explosion signed. He was instrumental in getting me the ability to do the Explosion video, which was a legit 75K video.
Right.
That's not resolution for anybody who's listening to this in the future, 100 years in the future.
Yeah, that's a pretty legit gig.
Yeah. So anyway, so when we had done that, we worked together well. We had the same type of, way of working somewhat. So I was like, all right, come up here. Like, my job is awesome. And like, I want to use the clout that I've got from, these stupid awards and, being on TV and doing like, super high level marketing, and all of it being very experiential or just different, not like traditional marketing and traditional advertising. Everything was very different. So Rama came up, moved in with me and moved in with my family basically, and started just pitching clients, telling what we could do together. And, we were doing that on the side. And I was starting to take time off. Like, I was like, all right, look, like I'm going to take like 3 weeks off from Sportvision, to go like do this thing in Vegas, go do a trade show and try to get business and all stuff. And so they didn't really like that at Sport Vision, that I was doing that.
Right.
And then it comes to a head where like that happened. And so I'm still at Sport Vision. I have like medicine agency was essentially like built out of freelancing, you know, so I had a lot of freelance clients. So I just kept hitting those people up and saying, hey, I have better capabilities now. We can hire some people, and Rama was going to manage them. And so we moved into an apartment in San Francisco, and we had an art show that night with Ronnie Alwyn, who's now a photographer for Katy Perry and lots of celebrities.
Okay.
And at Minna, 111 Minna in San Francisco, which is a great place. Like a lot of skate events there, a lot of like graffiti stuff. Roger did a book event there that I worked on the design for. So we invite people over to our house or this new apartment. We just moved into this apartment like 2 days ago in the Mission in San Francisco. And we have a big bay window. So we're like, hey guys, like, you know, people are coming over and we're all going to like, you know, I don't know, snack or something. And then we're going to go eat some food or whatever, go to this event, meet everybody. And I'm in the back in like the bedroom or something like this. And I'm like looking out the window as I'm doing something. And then Lisa's like, hey, like check out this window. Like you get to see like the city. And then like, as soon as she did that, as soon as I heard that in the other room, I looked down at what was going on the street, and a dude walked up to another dude and shot him dead right in the street. And we watched it. Like it was the worst timing of all time. Like it just happened. Oof. It gets crazier. Like he gets arrested. He gets let out. He comes back. Like he
did
really
he know you saw?
I looked him straight in the eye. Like the people. Here's the thing. This is like it's like summer-ish. So like the window's open.
Right.
And I'm like in this house and it's lit up, and I remember I'm wearing a red polo shirt.
Right.
And
must have had a target.
And then like when it happens, everybody screams in the house.
Right.
Like the whole party of people, like 3 or 4 people scream. And then I run, and I'm like swatting their heads down.
Yeah.
Because they're like, as it happened.
Right.
So I run and I'm like, get down. And as I'm doing that, like, dude, I straight caught eye contact with the dude. And so I was super freaked out. And we went to the party. Like he got arrested on my car. I was out there. He got arrested. He got brought to the police station, and then they let him out in the morning. And he came back to my house in the morning. It's on my porch.
Jesus.
Yeah, we like totally freaked out, and there was a whole bunch of stuff that happened. We had to like move out of this apartment super quickly.
Right.
So I was just like gone from my job for like a long, long time. I mean, I was just like, I had to get a new apartment now. I had just got back from Vegas. So we like did this trade show. Then we had this party. Then there was this shooting. Then I was like, I had to find a new house, and I had to get out.
Yeah.
And so then my job was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? And could you imagine what I told them? Like, look, I went to Vegas for my vacation.
Yeah.
And I was doing some cool stuff. And then I came home, and then I witnessed a murder. And I'm like kind of freaked out right now, and I need some space, and I need to like go get a new house, new apartment. And so, that just eventually led to like, well, they knew I was doing this work because it was starting to get attention, right? Like I had a website, and there was attention getting,
right.
Social media was buzzing. We were doing a blog at the time that was getting like 50,000 hits.
Right.
So I was basically like, they were like, dude, we need to make some changes here. So like, we parted ways. And, so I negotiated a pretty good package to get out, but, I used it all in the agency. Like I just poured it into the agency.
As you
So
do.
for like I was like, Ram, all right, like 6 months. He was like, okay, that sucks. But why don't we just get a office? Okay. So we went and got an office. We went and got two different offices, but we ended up in a nice office at the end that had an art gallery and all the stuff. And we just did it for real.
Right.
So I had a studio, or essentially an art gallery,
right,
that could function as a video or photo studio with like lots of good natural light and all the gear. Bought all the gear, started buying cameras, computers, desks, everything.
Lots of overhead.
Set it all up, and then just like drained my 401k and my severance package, and I spent it. I don't know, spent it all in the agency. Now, but we did some cool stuff though, we did some very cool stuff. We did some very different and cool, like worked with billionaires and did all kinds of random.
So what happened? Why do you think it, like, why aren't you still doing it? I guess would be the question.
I mean, like, I'll tell you the honest truth is that anxiety is really difficult for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it rips you apart.
Especially with that kind of overhead. I mean, you have to bring in so much money every month just to keep break even.
You're going to start an agency in San Francisco in 2008 during like the crisis. Yeah. And I mean, I could have just gone out and got a job, but I was like, let's give it like 6 months. Went longer than that. I mean, I essentially had my wedding party in that place.
Yeah.
But
you got to bring in a lot of cash just to keep that thing operating.
Yeah, it's like $25,000 a month.
Jesus.
Was enough to like maybe survive.
Right.
Yeah, something like that. Like maybe people were not getting paid much on the team. They were all in it to like for hustle,
right,
to be a part of something, to own something.
It's a lot
to not be treated in a certain way.
That's a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. Like,
yeah. So I made deals with people. I said, look, okay, here's the deal. You bring in a client, you'll get 5%. 5% of the first job.
Right.
Sometimes that's a decent money. Like I had a person on my team who brought in several clients, like 100K, like it's decent money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they would live off of that. And it was all about that hustle. I mean, I had an intern, one of my favorite people ever, came in one day and he goes, hey, like I've been going to you guys' parties, because we had parties in the art gallery, right? So we'd have art shows and, it's like, remember the dream? Remember the original dream? The original dream is that we would all live in a place that was like a warehouse. They had a huge ramp and a skate park.
Skate shop.
And you'd have shows and you'd sell skateboards, or you would do something. You would like print shirts in there during the day and skate at night. You would, have something. So we built that. We tried to make that.
Right. I still have that idea in my head.
Yeah. Everybody wants that. Yeah. And so we did, like minus the skate ramps. And so it was fine. We did a lot of work, but Rama at one point was just like, hey, I want to go like back to LA, and I want to like try to do a different kind of thing. I was ready to we weren't seeing things eye to eye.
Right.
So, but like what's a really important lesson for me at the time was that I was trying to teach myself is that I can't do everything by myself.
Yeah.
You can't do everything. Like I look at people who did it right, like Chris Patterson or like Chris Sims.
Right.
Chris Sims was someone,
he's someone I need to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah. Like he was like, Lacroix, I know this girl who's an awesome writer. I'm going to get her to write me a movie, and then we're going to like make a movie. Right. Okay. What else are you going to do? It's like, well, Austin's good looking, we're going to teach him to act.
Right.
And, so-and-so's going to play the music, and Jim Schwartz probably. And,
it's collaborative.
Yeah. But like letting it go right? Like letting people do their part of it.
Yeah.
Without you being like the boss
right
of everything. And but like it's still yours, right? Still your baby. So like you can't let the passion like control you.
Right.
You can't let you can't let it
freak about
can't make you make you blind, right? Like, dude, we decided to write this song and it's gonna be the best song ever. And then when it sucks, like someone's gotta tell you.
Right.
Dude, I know you wanted this song, but it's not gonna work. Yeah, everything relates to a band, right? So you gotta band has roles, right? Like Ben counted the money. I would do some of the design stuff. You were doing like
the money.
Yeah. Well, we call him the bank of Ben because he was smart.
Yeah. Well, he was
the
only
intelligent with money, with math.
Well, he was the only one smart enough not to just go out and blow it. There was a point where.
Well, you remember, like, hey guys, everybody has $100, and then we would just give out money to each other.
Well, there was a point where when we lived at 38, where I thought everyone else who lived there was going to kill me because the electric bill was in my name.
Yeah, we were not.
And I hadn't paid it in a couple months. And I was like, I'll pay it next month. You were giving me the money. I wasn't stealing the money because I was going to pay it.
No, you're an idiot, not a criminal.
I wasn't trying to screw anyone. I was just an idiot thinking, well, I'll have more money next month. It'll, you know what I mean? And I dug myself in a hole. And then Ben was like, I went to Ben. I'm like, dude, can I borrow a little bit advance money on whatever? Because we had some royalty coming or something.
Yeah. And then Ben got arrested for graffiti, and I had just bought him a drum set on my credit card because I was the king of like, I'm gonna get a credit card when I'm 17.
We were just all stupid with money, but he was the least stupid.
Yeah, but like I bought him a drum set, and then he got in trouble, and we had to bail him out. Me and Pete had the money that we just got out of credit cards or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's like everybody has a role. Everybody has a thing that they suck at and a thing that they're good at. And like, you have to be cool with it all. You have to let it all be part of the flow. Like, you can't be a perfectionist about people and things, but you do have to bring in people to help you work on your projects, to help you, have an extra eye on it, right? Like, you sent me your thing. I was like, hey, do you want me to tell you if I like this, or do you want me to tell you what you should do with it? And you can take it or leave it. I don't care.
Right.
Right. It's all up to you.
Yeah.
So, but I give you honest opinion, like, hey, maybe switch this around or whatever. Like, I don't know. But it's all in the point of like discussion, collaboration.
Right.
And to be honest, like you can't be, and this is what I learned as a creative director. Like when I got to a certain point where I had worked with all these people at extremely high level, where I was like, dude, I cannot design like this kind of person, like this person here. It's like younger,
right, blazing
fast, super creative. Like I can't be like them. What can I be? Like what is this? What is all this like dabbling as like being like, I'm a music video director. I'm a book publisher. I'm a zine guy. I make music. I promote shows. I mean, like done everything, right? Selling stuff, making merch. I had the jiu-jitsu company with Kenny Florian for a minute.
Yeah.
All that stuff failed because, I don't know. Like I didn't set not all that stuff, right?
Well, I don't think it failed necessarily.
I mean, maybe it didn't fail at all. I don't know. I mean, because I sold a bunch of stuff. Like people remember it. Like I go, people will tell me, hey, remember that? That's kind of cool, to be in people's memories. But yeah, I mean, but nothing lasts forever and things fall apart for sure. That's what happened with the medicine agency thing. And then, I just went to agencies. The anxiety.
Yeah.
Like, again, remember, it's like setting your expectations. Like I don't care if I do like a little project and nobody looks at it. I don't care. Right. Or if I get likes on my Instagram or something like that.
Right.
So it's fine. Or I play music. I record music all the time. I never let anybody listen to it. I'm fine.
Yeah.
But when it's your life on the line, it compounds like so much. Like what I liked about your series, or what stood out about your series especially, was like the struggle. Like, wow, am I going to suck forever? Am I going to live in a van? Am I going to like like all these people like having struggles, having to make choices. I wonder about all the choices I made in life, right? Like to freelance like crazy and to like not learn how to be like a normal human being with people because I became like a robot computer person.
Yeah.
Right. Like you get weird, right? You do get weird when you live in a studio forever.
Especially this year.
Yeah.
Real weird.
Oh, and what's funny is like my whole life has prepared me for this. So I wonder, like, should I have been working on relationships? Should I have been working on mental health, physical health? Should I have been working on like balance? Should I have said, no, man, I won't do that for 1,000. I'll do it for 10,000, take it or leave it, and just walked away.
Yeah.
Like that's what I should have done. Right. Sometimes I think, but then I was like, then when the medicine agency thing started to fall apart, Rama left. I tried to do a little bit of it on my own. I got headhunted again for a job at an agency. And I thought, man, like, what if I just have a check every 2 weeks, like right in my bank account, and it just all taken care of. And I don't overdraft things, and I don't have credit cards, and I don't do this like stupid stuff. Like maybe I could get like a nice car finally, like maybe I get like one of my like dream cars or something like that. And that's what I did.
Right.
But I worked twice as much and kept going at that cadence. Like, and I always wonder is like, when was the time now? So you asked me like, so where are you now?
Right. So
like where I am now is not where I am at a job, though. Of course, I'm not going to mention it, but I'm at a very big company and we do extremely well. And I work with awesome, like celebrities and all this cool advertising stuff. But where I am is comfortable and like happy about the level that I'm at. Like, I feel like, okay, I'm not faking it till I make it anymore. Like it's like there's no shadow of a doubt that I can do this job at an extremely high level and survive like the worst times.
Right.
I mean, so obviously like I have things like I write ads about like memorials for shootings in a store. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Right. And like it hurts to do it.
Yeah.
It's painful. But like I feel so good about it. Like I finally feel like I don't need to work harder, faster, more than anybody else to just be noticed. Like I can actually just like be comfortable like this, do things on the side that make me comfortable, that make me feel fulfilled and happy.
Right.
Because I'm not cool with like one hobby a day. Like I need to like play guitar, take some pictures, I don't know, write things or all kinds of things.
Right. What's that?
So now I'm at a point where like I can do that stuff with that, again, that feeling that I don't care if anybody likes it or ever hears it or sees it. It's just for me. And that's where I'm at. I'm like, I'm comfortable. Like I don't need to do cool work. I don't need to work in skateboarding. Yeah. I don't need to work in music. Like though, I get to do some things, but like I want security, mental health stability, because entrepreneurship, like I said, is like, it's a tough, anxiety will kill you, man.
Yeah.
And worrying and panic about your business or not being able to feed your family is very, I know I don't want to scare anybody.
No, I mean, it's just, and that's the thing without, I don't want to go too much back to the series there, but like, it shows all angles of it. It's like, it shows the successes and the failures, and like a lot of times, like it may not be something that you want to do forever. Sometimes you want to dip your foot in. I've been in and out. Like I've had a few jobs over the years, and it's like, I have a hard time.
You had jobs where you're like, I'm just not going to go to college anymore.
Well, I mean,
when you're a media 100, you're like, dude, I'm not going to go to college.
Well, I mean, some of my jobs, I just like, if the right thing came along, I might bite at it and give it a shot. But knowing, and I think you're kind of in the same place, like, you know that if it doesn't work, you're okay because you've built this. You had enough experience. You have enough knowledge and faith in yourself and confidence that like you could go out, like you just said, you could freelance forever if you needed to.
Yeah.
Like you may not, you've built this. You built this like a life where you're comfortable.
Sort of like a tool set, I guess. Of
Yeah.
like things you can pull off if you need to.
And it's not like you're going somewhere where you're like, you hate where you're going every day. So like, I mean, that's kind of more the general message, like on that thing. It's like, you don't need to hate what you're doing every day.
Well,
so
dude, like every job I've ever started, I thought I was going to love. Every business I ever started, I thought I was going to love.
Yeah. I mean, except
never gotten into a job that I thought was going to be bad.
You know, except those first jobs you get when you're like bagging groceries.
How it hits you is very different every time. You're like, oh my God, this one doesn't pay enough. Or oh my God, like no one recognizes the stuff I do around here.
Mm-hmm.
Or no one recognizes that like it would have fallen apart without me. Or if I did something very innovative and good with it. Like there's that, right? Like the nobody sees me thing. There's like, not getting paid enough. There's
well, some of it's money and some of
working
it's
too much.
Yeah. Some of it that I've had was like either they wanted you to work. I had jobs where they wanted you to warming the chair for 8 hours plus a day, but there wasn't anything that a lot of times it wasn't even that it wasn't that interesting. There wasn't really much of anything for me to do.
Yep.
And I would go and try and, I pitch ideas and like, let's do this, let me do this. And they just, it's like,
they don't see it. They don't get it. They don't get the vision. Well, then you start to go, say, I had a phase of my life where I was like, wait, shit, I'm a creative director, right? Like my job is explaining ideas to people. 100%.
I need to be better at that.
Right. Or not 100%, but
a good part.
A lot of
it.
Yeah. Every day it's explaining something to somebody about why it should be like this instead of this, or, coming up with strategies and all this kind of stuff. So I think, what I'm happiest about is that whether, and so like there are also people in my life, by the way, who did not take the same path. Like they screwed around forever. And then one day they woke up and went, oh, here's the thing for me. Like I'm going to fix this as my job, my career, and they make it, like, I mean, we met Steve Aoki in 1996.
Yeah.
Did we think he would be who he is today?
No.
Underestimated. But it's weird to underestimate. You wouldn't expect anyone to become like the world.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't put that on anyone. But yeah, I didn't know enough about him.
You could expect it to be him to be an NBA player, on the Lakers as well.
But with Steve, I mean, in a rough connection, going back to Dan Senna from 4-on-1, he's done pretty well for himself there too. And again, I remember Dan is the guy dubbing tapes in the tape room. I had no idea he had that in him,
Yeah. So if you try to take learn a lesson from what your stories tell, at least in that first series, and then like what we're saying and like the people we're bringing up, and like those, and again, dude, those philosophies we've said that are real. They really do. Like I've kicked the tires on these things. In the beginning, you need to bust your ass. You need to go harder, faster, stronger than anything to get like all of it is for a reason. You get to the, like, what I'm saying is like everybody, if you keep going, you all get to meet up 20 years from now and be like, look at all that crazy shit we did. And we're all living life and being happy and being fulfilled with our work. It just takes a long, long time, man. It takes a long, long time. It's a lot of shitty jobs. There's a lot of freelance jobs and whatever that go wrong, projects that you blow. I did the jiu-jitsu company. Like I was spending more time doing jiu-jitsu than doing a jiu-jitsu company. I didn't realize my partner was going to be famous in a couple of years. Right. So there's a lot of mistakes, but like I know what happened throughout that. Like I learned to manufacture overseas. I learned about materials. I learned about industrial sort of design with the way I designed the gloves and all that shit.
Right.
It's like, did I use it? Do I use it today? I don't know, maybe in some small way, but it all built up to a point where I said, okay, I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this. I'm like okay at these things. When you put it all together, then it's like a big deal. Then it's like you can really like do anything you want.
I think it's a lot of just building critical thinking skills. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like you were saying, that you may not have as much, you may not be able to keep up with some of the particular things that some of like the new designers are doing or whatever, but it's
like a skateboarder, right?
But you're like but it's like being the TM. Like you see the big picture, and you can help them make the most of what they're doing.
And like we have friends who've done this, right? Like they go, okay, well, my brother-in-law, he was TM for Cole, was a TM for Element.
Yep.
He did a lot more. He kept going. Now he's the media director for Thrasher, and the road's real squiggly, but they all like end like pretty much at the same place if you keep going.
Right.
Perfect. And you survive it. You let that stuff like almost kill you, and you survive it, and then you get stronger for it. There's a lot of lyrics in here, Wrench.
Yeah. I hear you. That's perfect. We're going on for a long time, but I think that's I would say that's a perfect place to end it, but I don't want to go without you talking about what you have going. Like I think you had a project you wanted to talk about.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you want,
So yeah, I mean, so since this like whole COVID thing, I haven't been going places. I finally have balance somewhat in my work life, though not right now because it's holiday. And so I've been playing a lot of guitar, and I've obviously like been working on that for like so long. So I started to think about what I wanted to do. I mean, I thought about making a podcast. I thought about podcasts that interview like punk dudes who like made it, and like Aram already has that, and like you've got your thing, which is so completely on brand for you. And I want to find a way to connect with people and do shit online, I guess, in some way. And I spend a lot of my days like just talking to people with guitars and gear and music and riffs, and I'm learning all this music theory now, taking lessons. So I'm starting this little thing, and I guess it's real now because I have to say it, right? So like, I'm putting myself in the corner. I got Brian Walsby to do the art for it. It's called Bloody Fingers, and it's basically a take on like aggressive guitar playing. Like, like I'm sure there's times we would play a show and I'd like show you my fingers, and there's bloody and there's splattered across the thing. So it's like a take on just like aggressive or like whatever playing. And I'm going to interview people who I respect, and I'm trying to really get deep into some of the history. I'm talking a lot with Jay from Turning Point, who's like, I obviously love the Turning Point records and all that stuff. And so I'm like trying to like connect with these people to, basically have like an hour or something long session where I talk about riffing and how you got into guitar and how you got into a band. Starting with Matty Henderson. So it's like we can talk about Madball and Agnostic Front and coming from, Minnesota, where the hell he's from, Minneapolis, I guess.
Yeah.
And, being like a super shredder and having like, you can imagine like you're shredding in Minneapolis, and like you just have to play a show in like 88 with AF, and the dudes from AF are like, dude, what the hell, dude? We need you in our band.
They call you up to the majors.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Like the majors. Remember Agnostic Front in like 90s?
That's pretty crazy.
So, video series about guitar and guitar playing. That's what I'm working on.
So is it going to be like, where's it going to be? Is it?
Well, I mean, I got to do everything remote. So I literally, I bought a Pelican case, and I started to fill it up with gear, like microphones and cameras, webcams and stuff like that, wires, stands, everything. And I'm going to ship that to the guitar player.
Okay.
That I'm interviewing. and I'm hoping I can like do it. Hoping I can do it in clusters. So I can save money on shipping. Like,
yeah.
okay, can you go drop off the kit to somebody else over there? You know, the other guitar.
Right. There's a whole. Do you know the Well, it sounds like you probably already researched all this, but the guy from Sandwich Video. Do you know that dude who does it like the?
I don't. Sandwich Video.
Look it up.
Yeah, I don't know that.
He does it.
I mean, I watch a ton of guitar. Like
he's the guy.
Guitar YouTube and
he's the guy who was in all like the startup company commercials for a while. The like he's got a beard. He's kind of like a bigger guy. I don't know. I forget his name, but he's got like a whole. He's got a video production company that does fairly well, and because of COVID, he like put this whole package together about how to do remote. Just keep working remotely, and he did a whole
really?
like series on it.
Oh, really?
Might be worth checking out. Like
yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. Yeah, I mean, like you know, like a lot of people have been doing very cool stuff with it, like what Sonny's doing. You know, Kevin Norton has a bar in Long Beach, and he just did Terror, like live.
Yeah, I saw he just put something up.
Super cool. Make lemonade, man. You got lemons, make lemonade. So he just started using the venue for that.
Yeah.
And like the online thing. I don't know if you know this, like Ira Ingram.
Yeah.
He's like, he started doing like the Barracks live events.
Okay.
Like calling camera 1, camera 2, like really like calling live shows.
Yep.
And he's done like Vans, Triple Crown, and like insane stuff now.
Right.
Live, and he can do it all from just like sets it up in the house.
That's awesome. Yeah, that live streaming world is something I've never really got into, but I probably should look at.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I could be on camera for like hours while people watch me, or I don't know.
I wouldn't want to do something.
I don't know if anybody cares to like. I don't know.
I wouldn't even.
I mean, I think like I'm gonna put my thing on YouTube.
Okay.
So people can go and just play. You know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was kind of, I guess, my question. Is it going to be like a video podcast, or are you looking to do?
Yeah, video. So right now the challenge I'm working on is synchronizing between us. And I went as far as literally getting somebody to record the drums to set it off. Not set it off.
So synchronizing,
Lockdown.
like, you mean like your voice tracks, or just like play?
No, so like,
are you gonna
like
play?
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to like play guitar.
Okay.
And have Maddie like play along with me.
Okay.
And
so just jam
talk
together.
about, and not necessarily jam, but like maybe he could like, you know, I mean, I think it can be a little bit tutorialish, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, with guitar, dude, I mean, guitar is a gateway to like awesome things. Music, any instrument is a gateway to awesome things. Like, it's just good for you. Yeah. But I get kids on social media who hit me up, right? Like young kids, Europeans, all kinds of people, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh man, I saw your amp. Is that the amp you played in 10-Yard Fight? You know, something like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe they're young guitar players, they're interested, and they don't know how to play. But like when I was, you know, a year or so into 10-Yard Fight, and I moved to guitar, I went to Matty Henderson, and I was like, show me how to do the Madball. Like, how do I do that?
Yeah.
You know, or like Kevin Norton, big influence on me, gave me hit my bass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everyone has them, you know, available.
Yeah. Like super veterans who like, hey, this is how you act in a band.
Right.
You know, or this is how you write music. This is how you make it heavy. This is how you make it groove.
Yeah.
So it's that stuff. I want to talk about that stuff. And I hopefully like some young kid who's like, shit, I can borrow my friend's guitar or my little brother, my big brother's guitar and play Madball riffs today. Like, can you imagine? Like, I just kind of think about like what that can bring people, you know?
Right. Oh, that's awesome. So are you worried about syncing, like, as far as like drift or like? Yeah.
So literally I went out and I got somebody to record a drum track for me. And so what I was going to do was play it for him, play the drum track for Matty so he could play along to it.
Okay.
It just doesn't work. It has to move this, like, Skype doesn't really do it right.
Yeah.
Nothing. The problem is, it catches. It's got to catch up at some point.
Yeah.
Never
even
does.
even right now, like what you're a little out of sync with the video. I don't know if I am, but
yeah. Now, like, imagine it's
right.
I mean, we're trying to play like death metal riffs, like,
yeah.
So
I think you might have to have, and I think you might be thinking about this because you were showing me that camera. You can record internally in that camera.
Yep,
but
that's what's going to have to happen. That's what. Well, so right now, my idea is that Maddie connects like this, and then he goes to QuickTime and says record from the same camera, and also records there.
Right.
Then that camera came out. But like, dude, I just bought mics and I bought everything. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. All right. Well,
yeah, I mean, like it's like that. It's a technical challenge. And what sucks is that people are doing it. Like people are doing stuff. Like people doing these like covers, right? Like Mutoid Men dudes, from Methuen, Steve Brodsky, like he's been doing that kind of stuff. Like these like crazy like covers are super fun, but like that's all pre-recorded and put together after the fact, and then like the performance is just not live. I don't think.
Right. Huh.
So, I don't know. I think maybe I just have to like dial it back and be more like, okay, show me the riff, Maddie, and then be quiet because there's all this noise cancellation. There's all this kind of like just syncing stuff that just doesn't work right.
Yeah, you may not just be able to play together at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, there's platforms for it. There's a platform called Jam Kazam where you can like literally just like it's like remember that chat roulette where like people were just like you would go on and then the camera would just switch to like somebody's camera. Literally, it's the same thing like that, but it's music.
Oh, okay.
So like somebody's like playing a song, and you can join their little room and play along with them. And they made it work, but I can't record multi-track.
Yeah.
Like you get multi-track right out of a camera recorder.
Yeah.
Camera or
call recorder there.
Call recorder.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been recording it too. So.
All right. Cool. All right. Well.
Anyway, well, thank you for having me. I mean, I think this is super cool. Like, I hope. I don't know. I have a weird job that like I don't know like anybody wants to know about it, but it's but I think like it's funny is that our like the principles that we had in the band are very similar to like just straight life principles, right? Like I think, and it's funny, it's like when I tell the 10-yard fight story to people these days, like I have all this hindsight, like what was really going on in our minds, right? And we did this thing in Rolling Stone. She asked me, so what was it like? Like, what was your thinking? Like, you started this like tough guy jock band. It's like, actually not, that wasn't the vibe. Like, yeah, it was, but it was more like capturing a childhood feeling.
It was more ironic. It was like the irony of us being in a tough guy jock band, because it wasn't really a tough guy jock band because we didn't like the tough guy jocks.
They were skaters and
and maybe you saw it different, but like in my mind, I always thought of it as like, we're gonna take the thing that you like and use it against you.
Well,
like,
that was like
use the
because we were like making
metaphors.
fun of Slapshot essentially.
Kind of, but we took it a step further because they didn't have like but see, Slapshot was actually legitimate. Like those dudes loved hockey, whereas like I don't know,
kind of closers.
And,
I remember Rob Fish being like, "Who's the number one football team of all time?" And I was like, Patriots. And he was like, Steelers.
Well, to me, that was kind of like maybe it was just an inside joke, but that was kind of like the joke that no one really got. It was like, I don't like football.
Dude, I had, we had the Promise Ring stayed over our house and they were like, hey, which one of you guys are in 10-yard fight? I don't know if you were there. I don't know. I don't think you lived there at the time.
Probably not.
But he's like, which one of you guys are in 10-yard fight? And we're like, oh, me and, somebody else, maybe Clevie or something. And they were like, we love football. Like, we're from the Midwest. Like, we love football. Like, let's talk about football. And we're like, and Clevo could do it. And I couldn't.
Yeah. Clevo's, and Ben too, I guess, knew. But, like, the core, like, me, you, and Papalardo, like, I don't think.
No, we were like skateboarders.
Like, if we tried to talk it, I think we were just being posers. But, like, To me, the joke was like that, like you made fun of us in high school for being who we are, and we're gonna just take your fucking thing and flip it on you, and like who's getting the last laugh. That was like in my mind, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that was. I mean, it's multifaceted, but you know, like, but I mean, like technically, I played football as a child,
right? And I did too, like in the schoolyard and stuff.
And I loved it, and it felt cool to me, and so like. You know, and then there's the fact that the whole thing was kind of a joke.
Yeah.
The lyrics and everything with like real meanings.
It was tongue in cheek. Yeah. There's so many, it was tongue in cheek. It was like, it was a joke, but it wasn't, you know? So it was like,
but that's what like made it okay.
Right.
You know?
And it made it fun. That was the bigger thing.
I think taking it too seriously is actually what is
maybe where
ruins it for me.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I don't know if anyone really needs to hear more about 10-Year Fight, but
no, they probably already, they can go to the Wikipedia page or something.
So, all right, I'm going to let you go.
Thank you, sir.
What do you want? You want to direct anyone anywhere? Anything like, you know, Instagram or anything?
I mean, I'm on it. You know, I don't really go hard on the Instagram and all that stuff. I'm on all that stuff as I am John Lacroix, but I don't even let I mean, I think they're all locked down, and most of them are locked down. But at some point I'll make something, and it'll be called Bloody Fingers, and I'll be hitting you up for
definitely.
Promotion.
Yeah, hopefully at that point that'll do some good for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Working.
So yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. I think it's cool that you do this.
Thanks, man.
Like I said, you've always been like a huge inspiration to me to just be like a get it done dude. Like no fear, charge it. Like I think of all the times like I think about the times I'm like, go up to the top of those stairs and jump off the stairs and clear the thing. And I don't care if you don't have brakes. Like I got the camera, let's do this. Like just no fear. Like just always go for it. It's people get it. People can see it in you.
Dude, that you don't know. That means a lot. Like coming from you. Cause, I've always seen it the other way around. Like I said, like I didn't even know what freelance was until I met you, you know, like, so.
Hey man, I'm happy to spread the wealth around.
So, all right, man. Thanks again.
Take it easy, dude.
You too. All right, that was John Lacroix. Thanks again for checking this out. If you haven't already, please make sure to go over to codecprojects.com, codecprojects.com, and check out everything we have going on over there. The Don't Stand in Line docuseries is still up for sale. It's also available for rent for a 72-hour rental period. So if that's a little bit more up your alley, you know, definitely go check that out. If you get a chance, please leave us a rating and review in iTunes or Spotify or wherever you're listening to this. It really helps build awareness and would mean a lot to me. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube at codecprojects.com. We're actually over at Facebook. We have a Facebook group going now for anyone who's interested in entrepreneurship or just kind of doing their own thing. You might want to go check that out. It's a pretty cool resource. And thanks again. See you next week.
Don't quit! Don't quit! Don't